Welcome aboard the 4 to 7 podcast. I'm Chris, along with Jerry. As always, we also have a very special guest on this episode. I think I mentioned it on the first episode of the Black Diamond podcast way back when that I used to have a baseball podcast called Where the Pitch Is At. Did that with my friends Robbie and, as you can see, Paul. So Paul was my co-host from Where the Pitch Is At. We did a baseball pod from 2017 to 2020. And I figured who better to be our first guest outside of the Ascension Podcast Network. So thank you, Paul, for joining us, and welcome to the show. When we did this podcast all those years ago, we had a great tradition. Few weeks into the season, every April, like around the middle of April, we'd have an episode that we'd call our Overreaction April episode. So we are continuing the tradition here and now.
It's so good to do this again, and in a scenario where it's actually linear and our opinions are a bit better, because my God, did I love Where the Pitch Is At, but we were winging it to a point where, good Lord, like I fear listening to those old episodes. So thank you guys for having me. Always love shooting the shit with baseball, but yeah, it's April 18th, right? I think time is the real.
It'll be April 18th by the time this episode comes out.
Yeah, like by the time we take our first break, it'll be April 18th. Let's be real.
Yeah.
But yeah, thank you guys for having me. Happy to shoot the shit with you guys. I don't know, Chris Ecker, what are you worried about?
What am I worried about?
Or what are you excited about? It could go either way. Overreaction April, you know?
Yeah, true. Yeah, you can overreact in every way. Yeah, it's tough because usually we start this. Usually we always start Overreaction April like I'll say like, oh, like the Yankees suck like 2 weeks into the season because they've only won like 7 games, and we'll talk about like how good the Mets are in April, and then like everything kind of corrects itself. But right now, both New York teams are doing pretty well. They're both we're both 12-7 atop our respective divisions. So, I would say I have some concerns, probably with both teams, but overall right now, I'd say the vibes are pretty high. We still have, we still have the best number 22 in baseball hitting in front of Aaron Judge. So all is well for us. Maybe there are some starting pitching concerns, but aside from that, I think, I'd say if anything, we maybe even overachieved a little bit to start the season.
Yeah, and I get your 22 joke. Honestly, like the civil war in the offseason between Juan Soto is kind of hilarious. Like, it's gonna happen, it's gonna happen here or there. But I appreciate what Soto did for us, and that's not a knock on him. We just love Benjamin Rice, and yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, it's kind of funny because I feel like the way it ended last year, right, was the Mets lineup essentially was like the reason they got to the playoffs. And correct me if I'm wrong, Jerry, is because their entire lineup from like Lindor to Alonso to the back end, like Vientos and all that, they're like 7 through 9 hitters were like doing work. So it's like, okay, this year the Mets pitching is going to be a problem, but their offense is going to be sick. They're going to have to win some shootouts. And then with the Yankees, it's like, oh, our pitching is going to be pristine, good. We're going to have to worry about the offense with Soto. I feel like 3 weeks into the season, both things are opposite, where the Yankees offense is pretty good, except when we face like, Skubal or, someone like to that caliber, where if Judge isn't like, doing work, everyone's not doing work, but the pitching's been atrocious. Our offense and depth, like, Ben Rice, like, all those players like really coming through and like adding more depth to the back of our lineup behind Judge. Meanwhile, our pitching has been Carlos Carrasco just like on his last legs trying to do his best, And then meanwhile, the Mets pitching has actually been pretty solid and the offense has been fine, but it's not been as overwhelming as you would have thought on paper yet, because I think Soto's gonna fucking, do his thing sooner rather than later. But yeah, it's kind of funny how the preconceived notions have been flip-flopped. Like, am I wrong about that, or like?
So the pitching's been better than expected for the Mets, and we kind of did go into this a little bit on the last episode, where it's actually been the bullpen that's been fantastic. The starting pitching's been fine. It hasn't been a problem by any means. I think the one thing that does worry me to this point is they just haven't gotten a lot of length out of them.
Right.
Senga was the first Met pitcher to go into the seventh inning, and that was this past Sunday. Griffin Canning tonight was the first Met starter to throw 100 pitches this year. So my one concern was, okay, well, the bullpen's been great, but if they're having to work 4 or 5 innings every night, by the time we get to the trade deadline, they're going to be beat. So, like, help them out a little bit here. And I get some of that's the fact that Minaya is out right now, and you can probably get a guaranteed 6 to 7 out of him most nights. They're still building Kodai Senga up. The only reason he was able to go as long as he did in Sacramento was because his pitch count was extremely low. They've generally kept him between 75 to 80 pitches so far, and I don't think that's by accident. I think the fact that he went from 160 innings 2 years ago to 10 last year, you can't just build him right back up and say, all right, just go be the guy you were 2 years ago.
Yeah.
We need him to be that guy, but you can't ask him to throw 7 innings right out of the chute. That's not going to be sustainable. So I kind of get that. It just is frustrating in the beginning where you're seeing before tonight, Canning was struggling to get through 5. Clay Holmes, I think, just got into the 6 for the first time, his last time out. Tyler McGill is the same pitcher he's been for 5 years, and Met fans continue to receive the Fell For It Again award. So if this rotation can just get a little bit more length, we're in really good shape. I'm not worried about the lineup in the slightest. It's April. The pitchers are going to be always ahead of the hitters. The weather will warm up. They'll start hitting. The ball will start flying further. We see this every year. Like, to any Met fan that's freaking out about Juan Soto, we have done this for 4 seasons with Francisco Lindor, and Juan Soto's a better hitter than him. You don't trust one of the best hitters of this century to figure out whatever is ailing him? And I say ailing, credit Danny Abriano from SNY. Entering tonight, bad Juan Soto has a 131 OPS plus and is on pace for 126 runs, 126 walks, 27 homers, 36 doubles.
He also,
I don't know, guys. Is that good?
He also only has 1 more strikeout than he did through this many games with the Yankees last year. Like, I think he has 12 through 19 games, and he had like 11 with the Yankees last year. I saw that somewhere because I like the I think it's like, I think what it comes down to with Soto is, I think it's like it's a classic case of like the dumbest people being the loudest. So, you got like the pundits on WFAN, obviously, April baseball, it's fun because, baseball's back and, everyone's like getting back in the swing of baseball season, the hockey teams in New York suck. So like, there's nothing really to look forward to, there with playoffs. And, I think that Knicks fans, expectations for a deep playoff run have been rather tempered as well, which we did discuss a little bit before we went live. So, that's like the thing to talk about right now. So you get like these like dumb pundits who are like looking for a story. And of course, like, Juan Soto, going from the Yankees, helping take them to a World Series to then signing, the biggest contract in sports history with the Mets. Obviously, it's, probably the biggest story to happen in New York sports in a pretty long time that I could think of. So you're going to get these people who are going to get loud and vocal about it because he's, quote unquote, struggling. Anything I say about Ben Rice is strictly in support of Ben Rice.
Right.
And I'm gonna troll about, Ben Rice and Trent Grisham while I can, because that's what Overreaction April is for.
My friend Jesse, who I was mentioning on the show last week, actually texted after yesterday's game, send Soto down for a few days. and I'm mentioning this because I'm going to clip this, and then when Juan Soto's hitting his normals in July and August, I'm going to beat him over the head with it every single game to remind him how stupid he is. So
it's the next best thing to an actual hammer.
I will wield it
Right.
Yeah, so it's like you basically have, and like I thought at first, like, now that I see the numbers, like, okay, he's only struck out one more time because than he did. I think maybe some of the pitches that he's swinging at, maybe he's like, maybe he's not swinging at as good of pitches as he was, with the Yankees or just in his past career. Like, I don't even know if that's true. Like, I think about the opening day strikeout. Like, that's probably one of the worst pitches I've ever like seen him swing at. But like outside of that, he like by no means is he, he's still getting on base at a very high clip, and he's still the power will come.
Right.
They just played a series in Minnesota. It was probably like 25 degrees with the wind chill there.
If he was just swinging wildly at everything out of the zone like Javier Baez, I'd be really worried. But
yeah,
the selling point on Soto is, yeah, he has the power, but he also has the best eye since Barry Bonds. And that's been there. And that's been the treat, is watching him work at bats. Like, yeah, we pay him to mash, but it's the combination of the power and the eye that makes him so lethal. The eye's still there. So, like you said, yeah, it's 30 degrees in a lot of places right now. The wind's still blowing in like crazy in a lot of places. Give it another month. I'm not worried about it.
Yeah, I mean, we watched him like, so I think what the parity is with him, right? He's going to be just fine. Like, I know like Yankees fans and Mets fans talk shit, but like, I'm appreciative of what he did. Was I heartbroken when I was like laying in bed and got that notification at 11:34, and I was like, well, now I got to drink another beer and I'm going to be late to work tomorrow. But yeah, man, like he is such a talented ball player. I loved our time with him. I feel like I'm talking about like my ex right now, but yeah, he's going to be just fine. I think what it is he's so talented at defensive like swings, right? So you have Juan Soto, he's working at bat. Like the art that he does, like the thing that's so impressive to watch, because you don't see this as much because pitching has overpowered hitting to a point where like even the best hitters look fucking stupid on a daily basis because again, pitching is that good. His defensive swings just to like, oh, that was a ball in the corner with like some movement. I'm just gonna demoralize you by that not being a strike or a swing and a miss. Like, I'm gonna just like keep doing that. I think him just like, the swing and misses like right off the bat is making people forget that he can do that, and he's gonna get back to it. He'll be just fine. It's a new team. Honestly, man, like I think baseball players do better, or like players in general do better in a prove it contract year than they do in a I just got my money, but I still want to prove a year. You know what I mean? I think that's a lot of it. But yeah, he might be like trying to play a hero ball a little too much, but like everyone does that. Like think about Jazz, right? Think about the first like few games Jazz had, and then some of his swings. It's like, all right, dude, you don't have to take a hell hack every time. Let's relax. So like, and Soto's has a better eye, is a better hitter than him. Like, no one thinks otherwise. But yeah, I think a couple of silly swings and misses is just so uncharacteristic of him. Of course, Mets fans and Yankees fans are just like, oh my God. Like we said, overreaction April. Let's flip the hell out about this, even though it's not that big of a deal. It's, the microscope is on him. He's done that last year. It'll be fine. He's going to hit his, stride, and it's going to be scary. You guys are going to be scoring like 14 runs like a game in no time. Just wait to that Pirates series, man. It's going to be ugly against not Skeens, like against like Mitch Keller or Bailey Falter, who aren't the worst pitchers in the world, but aren't the best. It's going to be ugly, man. I'll tell you.
He'll make Andrew Heaney look like Yankees Andrew Heaney again.
Dude, Andrew Heaney has like nutted up the past 2 weeks. I'm kind of pissed off about it because he made us look like fucking fools. I'll tell you that. I saw that in person.
Yeah.
There's literally okay, so let me tell you this. I went to every Yankee game at PNC Park, and so what happened was, we actually had our opening day prices, which it's funny, Jerry. So people in Pittsburgh were like, "Oh, those home opener tickets are expensive." I was like, "Really? How much?" And they're like, "It's like $78." Like, dude, that's like a Tuesday in New York for either team. Like,
Yeah.
calm the fuck, like, calm down. That ain't too bad. And then I guess with the Pirates getting off to a bad start, I got like on StubHub with fees and shit, $29 for like pretty good seats in the outfield, in the bleachers, in the right field bleachers. And then I got a fucking $19 ticket in section 101, which is along the third baseline. And we were there, and this Yankee fan sat in the seat in front of us and broke a chair. And literally security. This guy's job wasn't to be a mechanic. They just handed him fucking $12. So we're watching Andrew Heaney just like fleece the Yankees, just like destroy us the whole game. It was like kind of odd. It was like, last time I saw you in our uniform, you kind of fucking stunk, but now you're making the best hitters on the planet look like they don't know what they're doing. And this poor dude, credit to him, is trying to fix this goddamn chair in front of us. And my friend, who's a Pirates fan, hates his life. It's just like, hey, can that toolbox fix the fucking team? Just like screaming at this man. And it was so funny just because like security was like, hey guys, calm down. And then everyone starts complaining about Bob nutting. And it's like, no, don't talk about that. There are children here. And then a literal 14-year-old was like, I'm not a child. I agree. Bob nutting stinks. It was just like, it was just such a surreal like clash of like two cultures. And I was like, man, like, you know what? We'll let the Tommy Pham walk-off happen. They need this to stay. Like, we'll let them have the Sunday win, you know? But, yeah, I mean, I think both New York teams are fine. I think, actually, the one thing with us is that if we don't trade for starting pitching, we can kiss a playoff run goodbye. We need to get even if Cole comes back, I don't, like, trust that. Like, I don't trust a Tommy John surgery, like, September thing, you know? I know
Cole's not coming back till like May of next year, I think.
Yeah, well, there was that Aaron Rodgers rhetoric where it's like, oh, he might be back for a place. No, shut up. We don't want that. Like, that's stupid. Even if it was possible, just don't do it, right? But yeah, I think at the end of the day, like, Gil needs to come back, and it's still uncertain. I'm kind of disappointed in Will Warren, man. Like, I know he has good stuff, but he seems to like kind of shit his pants like every start so far. I'm surprised we won that game today. I know he has the stuff, but he's just he seems not ready. We need to trade for a pitcher, man.
Yeah. Will Warren definitely needs to hone it in. And I mean, credit to the Yankees for, they were able to overcome only getting like an inning and 2/3 out of Will Warren today, which, is not an ideal way to start but it's not an ideal thing to happen when you're not going to have another day off till, I don't even know when the next Yankees day off is, but I don't think it's like until like next, like, I don't think it's till like next Thursday at the earliest, and it might even be longer. It might not even be till like,
is it
the Monday after, like this Monday.
Yo, real talk though, is it just me or do the Yankees never get days off? Like, I feel like there are times where, right? Like,
no days off. They stay grinding.
It's either Mondays or Thursdays for us where we've got like 6 in a row of them.
Right.
Like, either just don't play Mondays or we don't play Thursdays. And whichever one is one. So like if we don't play Mondays, then we're always playing Thursdays. So like one of our getaway days is going to be weird.
It's always
you did mention the defensive swing thing with Soto. I think Chris was trying to bring it up. I don't know how many people saw the clip of Soto during the offseason talking about the at-bat where he hit the home run that won the AL pennant, where he's going against Hunter Gaddis, where he's talking about like, well, we had a runner at second and Judge was behind me. I knew like all I needed was a base hit. And he's like walking through the at-bat, and he said, he threw me a changeup. It was the best pitch I saw from anybody in the playoffs. I just fouled it. And when I fouled that off, you're done. If that's the best pitch that anybody's going to throw me, and I just fouled that off, what are you going to do? And,
right.
And it was translated. But like I could have listened to him like give a hitting tutorial clinic for like 8 hours just doing that.
Yeah, and then he said how he was like the one pitch he hadn't thrown yet was a fastball, so he knew a fastball was coming on that pitch, and he
He's like, let me jump in front.
Yeah, he jumped it. He jumped it and he picked he put the PCI indicator in the perfect spot too. Perfect.
I mean, it's just a combination of like knowing your opponent's arsenal and then actually executing it. Like all of us know what a pitcher throws, right? But could we actually physically do anything about it? No. He literally can do both things. He can. That's why he's a fucking Major League Baseball player. That's why he's making over $700 million. That's why he's like making literally like $300 a minute or whatever the insane math of that is. But yeah, I mean, even that.
Breaking it down, it is around $300 a minute.
Yeah, it's pretty nuts.
And like all the dedication that Tony Gwynn put into film, and because he was one of the first hitters that really took that seriously, and then the ability that I think the best compliment you could ever pay a hitter was, and they used to say this about Bonds and Manny, was they could sit on one pitch for an entire series, not swing at anything for a whole series, but if they knew that pitch was coming, it was going 600 feet. And like Soto has that ability of what Tony Gwynn knew he needed to do as a hitter, plus that ability of, if I get that pitch, I'm going to sit on for a whole series. There's nothing you're going to do about it. That's why there's such a big deal about him. And it's even like, it's been fun for me, even for all the yelling that's gone on about Soto so far. Like, he still is doing all the work in the at-bats. I've still enjoyed watching him do that. That's why, to me, it's like, okay, the RBI totals aren't there. Well, outside of Pete, it's not really there for anybody else right now either.
Right.
So, like,
and it's April. Like, listen, man, I like my one competitive fantasy team that I'm in. I'm basically throwing April because I'm going to pick Lindor, but I will be fucking pristine from May to the rest of the to the end of September. Like, we'll be golden, right? But that's the thing, man. So like they'll be fine. It's obvious, like their offense is going to be good, but I don't know, like the pressure in New York is like the same, but it's different. You know what I mean? Like they were booing him today. I saw a notification of that. Like, why are we doing that? Like, even if he got up, even if he was like 0 for 18, right? You see a sample size of this man. Are you really trying to boo him like that early? Like he would have to be mediocre throughout like the middle of June for you to be like, okay, this is a problem. Like, this is why we call it overreaction April, because people do shit like this and we're all in our fucking 30s, like, you know, freaking out about nothing or everything. Who knows?
You can say it on each and every show until Soto gets good. Make throwing things at Salicata in public a thing. That's why that shit happened tonight. Because you got this bald fraud yelling on TV like, I need the real Juan Soto. You're still getting
who's worse, him or Frank?
Oh yeah, Jerry has a rule that.
Oh, sorry, I asked about rules. To be fair,
you did ask about rules. Right. We forgot to mention one rule. This is a Jerry rule. If it's not Frank Fleming's obituary, he doesn't want to hear about him.
Right?
Who?
Frank Fleming.
Who?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
No, he's learning. He's learning.
There's an owl an owl got in here somehow.
Yeah, dude, I think I just blacked out. I might have drank too much. Anyways, but yeah,
they're both Yankee fans masquerading as Met fans.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that's see, Chris Hacker. That's why you knew about the one strikeout, because I'm pretty sure he did say something. He's like, "Oh, the strikeouts are so much more," and it's like it's only one more. It's like, dude, what do you like? Not a ball knower, my guy. You're a reactionary person. You're not a ball knower. Sorry to say it.
Yeah, it's just the one thing I go back to is we all watched the first 2 months of last year and everything that entailed, and we saw what unfolded for there. I'm not saying that that's always going to happen, but this is mostly the same group plus one of the best hitters ever, and you're going to continue to freak out like you did last year. You're going to tell me that you learned nothing. Okay, I can't help you.
So the Mets, like, just I don't know if you're as superstitious as I am with fucking sports, even though I know it's ridiculous, but you just need to defeat the month of May. That's like not a this group thing. That's a historical Mets thing, right?
Actually, it's defeating really June that usually kills us. That was what made part of last year so crazy. Was like June usually sinks a lot of our seasons.
The June swoon.
You guys were like at 500 till like when? Like the end of June, basically?
Reverse
or the first week of July.
Right.
Even with the run we had gone on. But yeah, there's been plenty of good Mets seasons that just absolutely got ruined by June. And then, like, yeah, April and May, it's like, hey, they kind of got something here. And then you look up and go, oh, all of the relievers stink. We're screwed.
Right.
2012, 2013, 2018. Yeah, I know that very well.
Let me tell you this, though. Your boy Holderman is a Pittsburgh Pirate favorite. Let me tell you.
So I hear.
And our boy Dennis Santana.
Dude, they
say no one won that trade.
Dude, they brought Holderman against the Yankees, and just so many like Pirates fans in unison were just fucking hell, man. Like, we're in so much pain. Why are you doing this to us?
I can't even call that out because I know I've been like that, where it's just like, oh God, not Frank Francisco. Oh Christ, yeah. Not John Roush. No.
Who's the one person? Good old Josh Smoker from back in the day.
Smoker. That's a good one. Oh,
that's
literally the entire 23 bullpen, like Phil Bickford. Who is Trevor Gott? It felt like no matter who they brought in, they were all terrible.
I forget who was against. I remember just like being asleep, like still in my jeans on the couch, and I'm like, I see Phil Bickford's name on the screen. I was like, that's a creative player. And then I just went back to sleep. And I questioned if that man was real the next day. And I looked out, I was like, yeah, he's a guy. Apparently he's on a team.
No, I knew he was real because he pitched for the minor league team that used to be like right where I lived. So I knew Phil Bickford existed.
Oh man, did you get to say any words to him? Be like, hey man, I believe in you. You'll be good, right?
Oh no, this is funny. I don't know if I've ever brought this up to Chris, but so the year after I did the broadcasting for the team down here, I did the official scoring. So I had to sit in the press box. And for that year, instead of the stands, they would the pitchers would come up and chart up with us. He wouldn't be sitting right next to me. He'd probably be like 15 feet down. But literally the pitchers would come up and like Cody Ponce, who was on the Pirates for a couple of years, like he used to come in and he would joke with us. But one of the pitchers that would come in and chart was Devin Williams. And it's it's one of those things, like I think I talked about this with Chris once, is I think about little moments where it's like, little do you know what's going to come down the line. And it's like, I wish I could go back and like tap me on the shoulder. It's like, you see that guy down there? Yeah. Give it 8 years. Just wait. Why?
Dude.
I can't tell you.
Just trust me.
Speaking of overreaction April and such, and Devin Williams, our boy had a clean inning for the first time this season. Let's go.
I think he's got back-to-back clean innings now.
Yeah. I know people were worried about that, and I get it because, the pain of last year was like, we have a lead. How can we fuck this up? And then Luke Weaver needed to be our messiah, and he still is. That man, it gets to the point where an absolute dog like Luke Weaver is so good that you're just like, this has to be the time he falters, right? Like I'm sweating my dick off, like worried about this. And he just continues to just be like very efficient, not giving up any runs. And he's hilarious in interviews. He's actually kind of got a crush on the man, like not gonna lie. But he's got Riz, he's got good pitching. Man, like he came from the Reds, right? Like he was like not great on the Reds, if I'm correct. Luke Weaver. Yeah.
Well, he was like one of those he was kind of like one of those like Matt Blake reliever reclamation projects. He was on like 12 teams before he came to the Yankees.
So that's a thing that I think we need to bring up, right? This is not an overreaction, April. This is a very calculated sample size. So Matt Blake is a fucking godsend. He is doing work. He's bringing out the outer limits of pitchers, but it is kind of alarming that a lot of our homegrown pitchers, whether it be starters or relievers on the Yankees, it's like you see the White Sox, they're fucking absolute dog shit, but they got some guys who throw changeup I forget what that guy's name was. Something Smith, who like had a fucking like change up or splitter that was like it didn't look real. Like, and this guy who just came into the league. I'll look up his name in a minute. Like it's the White Sox. I apologize. They're all creative players, but I'm like, why can't the Yankees pull out these homegrown guys who are throwing close to 100, who are like throwing these like change ups and breaking balls with horizontal break? That's the problem. Matt Blake is great. We need to keep him because he makes our pitching staff good. But the lack of just like raw, just overpowered talent is what alarms me, because I just see random guys I've never heard before just be like, oh yeah, pitch 7 innings, 8 strikeouts. Like, what? I'm gonna, like, depending on what goes on in the next 2 months, like, I'm gonna be a trade for Hunter Green man, like, for the Yankees. I was like, listen, I'll give up some prospects for him. We need a guy. Garrett Cole, like, he's gonna be next year. We got a lot of inexperienced pitchers, like, without our ace in the mix. We need someone who is overpowered. And not just because of Matt Blank, someone who could just go without any instruction and just like destroy you. We don't have that. We kind of have Matt Blake lifting our players to be to that point. But at the end of the day, you need a fastball close to 100, 98, 99, 100. And you need someone with a bunch of break on their, on their off-speed pitches. And again, the fact that we're not able to pull that out of our asses like other teams are is just a little bit troubling for me right now, if that makes sense.
Yeah. If you want Hunter Green, that's great because we'll take Sandy Alcantara. But 2, I think to answer your question, like you talked about, like, well, we get guys like Luke Weaver and Clay Holmes that come in, and we're able to make the tweaks. And I almost wonder if it's easier to look at a guy's film from another team and go, okay, well, that works and that works, and all right, well, if he just throws from the third base side of the rubber instead of the first, like, all that stuff will be even better. And it's easier to just diagnose someone who's not one of your guys. When you have a prospect and a draft pick, you just see all the things that you like about him and all the reasons that you drafted him. And sometimes you can kind of get blinded by your bias or your loyalty to that guy, that maybe you don't see the faults necessarily or what's correctable. Whereas if another team gives up on a pitch, you can go, oh, wait, so he has this, and well, we can work with that. Well, he just has to change this thing. Well, yeah, we can do that. And that's why he's like, the Mets have done that. It's these teams, I think, with the pitching labs, because the Dodgers are kind of like this. The Dodgers don't really have pitching prospects that really come through like that, at least not anymore. But what they're really good is at taking other teams' relievers and being like, all right, just fix this. You should be fine. And then they turn into guys that have ERAs that are like 0.9. The Mets have kind of had that too, where their best pitching prospect post, the Harvey DeGrom era is David Peterson, who's good, but I wouldn't necessarily call him front line. And that's why we're all kind of looking at Brandon Sproden going, okay, is he legit or is he missing something that we're just not seeing? But like you said, Minaya made that change in the middle of the season last year. Like Severino tweaked a couple of things. Quintana tweaked a couple of things. And all of a sudden, here they were being effective starters mid-season. But like they haven't really been able to develop their own guys like that. They're usually taking someone else's scraps and toying with a little bit and making that work. And so I wonder if all these teams that we talk about having pitching labs don't all have a common denominator here.
Yeah. So a couple of points that I wanted to make in response to some of the things that Paul brought up. So I believe the person on the White Sox you're thinking about is Shane Smith.
Yeah, dude, nasty. Like, no disrespect to him. He was just like a new guy, and it's like, wow, like, they just pulled this out of their ass.
Yeah, he's like 25, and yeah, he plays for like the worst baseball team in the history of ever. We did a whole series last year on all the worst teams in history and who would win a 7-game series between each historically bad team, respectively.
That's actually fun as fuck. I like that. Who won the World Series of that shit?
I believe I think the 69 Mets ended up
62
winning.
Mets.
Oh damn! See, I would have put money on the 2003 Tigers. Fucking Brandon Inge with a walk off.
They made it.
Dog.
Yeah, They made it to the finals.
Yeah, they were right there. We had the 24 White Sox and the 23 A's, and we're like, well, one of them's going to get
That's
there.
how it started.
And neither of them got to the
That's how it started. I got really high one night, and I was like, who would win a 7-game series between like this year's White Sox? This is of course last year. I was like 2024 White Sox, 2023 A's. Like who would win a 7-game series? And I was like talking to Jerry about it. He's like, I'll do you one better. Let's do a whole postseason of it.
Yep.
So you can find those episodes in the archives. Regarding Hunter Green, he is under team control until 2029. So he would be a very good get, but also a very expensive get. I remember you messaged me the other day, Paul, and you were like, would you trade, what was it, Spencer Jones, and was there anyone else? Like, was it like Spencer Jones and George Lombard Jr. for
It wasn't both of them. Like, so Lombard Jr. wouldn't get it done. It would have to be Spencer Jones. But like, I was under the impression he was like under to 2027. So I misread that. So that makes it way more difficult, as you just pointed out. Did he get an extension, or is he just that young?
I think he's just that young.
This is his age 2025 season. So he has, I'm looking at his contract now. He has like this year's an arbitration year, next year's an arbitration year, and the year after that. Then he's got like.
Okay, so he didn't get an extension though.
And then a club option for 2029. Yeah, he signed a 6-year deal with them in 2023.
Okay, I missed that. And like, you know what, that makes more sense now, but I was like, yo, like he is so fucking dirty. I'm in love with the man. Like it's just, yeah, you ever just like fixate on one guy, you're like, we need to get him no matter what. That's like that's my dog for that.
I felt that way about Luis Castillo too for a long time.
Yeah, I mean he's a fine player, but like it's fucking Mariners, man, having the best pitching staff and still like not the greatest team. But
Hunter Green is more attainable than you think, because when we talk about ownerships and front offices that maybe aren't doing everything they should, the Reds should be very thankful that the Pirates are in the NL Central and taking all the heat off them. Because remember,
we need the Pirates.
The Reds owner on TV on radio on opening day said, "Well, where are you going to go?" And the radio interviewee guy said, "What do you say to the fans who want more and question whether this front office is doing everything?" And the owner actually said on record, "Well, where are you going to go?"
Jesus Christ.
That's
it's
what
like
you're negotiating with.
And it's like, bro, you have Ellie and you have Hunter Green. Like you can build around that, like, but you won't probably.
That's the hard. You got the hard part done. You have your your MVP caliber hitter and your Cy Young caliber ace. That's the hard part.
Right. And it's like, you know what, like it'd be criminal if the Jay Bruce, Todd Frazier years ended up being a better run than like the players you have now. That'd just be embarrassing as hell at this point, Nothing against those guys. They were fine for that team, I guess. But it's like, man, it's the NL Central. The NL Central is such an obtainable thing. Milwaukee's always there, right? I actually do give credit to the Cubs for being like, we could just like make this work with like free agents. Like that's how fucking like, and they are like they.
We could just spend above the floor and we can just win this division.
Yeah,
right.
And I actually do like a few players on the Cubs. I like I can't say his name, Pete Crow Armstrong. I think he's going to be very good. I like Matt Shaw. I like Matt Shaw and his versatility. And then, I was always a Dansby Swanson fan. He's like one of those first overall picks that like, I guess he didn't hit his like, level, but he's always like pretty above average in my opinion. Great player. They just got a good squad, man. And they did it by like caring. They're like, shit, man, our division kind of stinks. Let's like win it like very easily. They're going to run away with that, I think. I think Milwaukee might like tail them for a while. But yeah, I mean, St. Louis, we talk about like fans with expectations. St. Louis, man, surprisingly bad the past few years. And like, it makes sense now, but it seemed like they were trying. Like the Arenado acquisition, like Goldschmidt and all that, they just kind of like they kind of just shit the bed with all that. So yeah, and then the Pirates are just going to be like, oh well, what can we do? We have Paul Skeens. It's like, dude, you can do a lot. Just get some average hitters. That's all you freaking need, man.
It's why, like with the Reds, when it came out, it's they just hired Francona. It's like, okay, so are you being serious? Is this your intent? Like, okay, yeah, we're gonna get a proven winner of a manager in here, and we're actually gonna try to support this group because they've had other prospects. I don't think the other ones have really come close to matching what Ellie and Hunter Green have done. But like you said, if you just try, at the very least, you're going to be in the wild card mix. Like,
right. Well, the other thing is, so I was looking at the standings today, right? So the AL actually has a lot of parity. Like you look at the AL East, like we're in the lead and the Blue Jays are right behind us. It's kind of weird because I would say that I'm still more fearful of Boston because they do have like Garrett Crochet, but their hitting isn't it's not as like scrappy and annoying as it was last year. Like I haven't seen like a lot of Jared Duran, like, highlights or whatever. And then you would think that the Orioles would be up there. Like, how could you fall that far from your 2023 season? But Kowser's hurt. He's actually my favorite player on that team. I like have high hopes for him. But yeah, I mean, like, who would have thought? Yeah, exactly.
Soon.
Who would have thought letting Corbin Burns was a bad idea? Was a bad idea, So the AL. There are good teams in the AL. It's just hard to tell right now because of parity. Like the Yankees have a grave weakness in their starting pitching. Like we struggled against Detroit because their starting pitching was good. Ours was bad. We struggled against the San Francisco the Giants. The San Francisco New York Giants is what I meant to say. They have picnics together every year, as you know. But yeah, no, they have a solid squad, good pitching, and we lost that rubber game basically by 1 run. Stinks,
I can't believe Brock Purdy rock Stroman shit like that. I couldn't believe it.
Yeah, I know. Heliot Ramos Purdy, my favorite baseball athlete of all time. But no, the glaring weakness is we can't keep up with those teams, but the starting pitching is like not great. And then you look at the AL Central, the Tigers actually look like the most formidable team there. They got Skubal. I actually like their lineup. I think Riley Green is good. Torkelson is looking like he got his head out of his ass. So, good for him. I'm happy for him. I know he was struggling, got set down. That's, rough for a guy. Weird place with the Guardians, man. Like, not sure. And then you got the AL West is weird as hell. Like, the Angels came out hot. And we all knew that was fake, right? It was cool for them, but we all knew it was fake. And now they're like at 500. And then the Astros were doing that thing. It was like, LOL, we lost a couple games, but now we're good. And now they're bad again. And then, I don't know, I just never trust them. So the point is, amongst this rambling, and I do apologize, is the parity in the AL is so uncertain. Like, we were told that for the Yankees, at least we're in the AL, will succeed. I think that still is the case, but it's closer than I'd like. I'm a little nervous about it with their pitching injuries. But then you look at the NL, and there's a lot of there's not that much parity in the NL. But you look at the 3 good teams in the NL West, and they're the teams that are even the Diamondbacks are good. They're just in the best division in baseball right now. But look at the Giants, man. Look at the Padres. Let's not disrespect the Padres. They are the best team in baseball right now because they're led by our king, Michael fucking King. My God. If anything, that's the thing. I'm not upset about Juan Soto. I'm actually, in hindsight, more upset about Michael King. I'm going to fucking go have him. But yeah, I mean,
I still make that trade 100 times out of 100. But
yeah. With your knowledge, you have to. But my point is, the NL has clear powerhouses and the AL doesn't. So, it's an interesting formula for what's going to happen further in the season. And that's what I'm overreacting about. I'm like, are we going to just have, a fucking playoff against the NL West and, whatever team faces whatever team comes out of that in the World Series is just going to lose, right? That's how it seems right now.
There's a real chance that somebody with 90 wins doesn't make the NL playoffs. I mean, like, I don't think that's off the table.
Yeah, the Rockies for sure.
Yeah. Listen, you take Brenton Doyle lightly if you want to.
Dude, I was actually talking about this. Do you think that the Rockies are the most have the biggest disadvantage in sports because pitchers who are free agents and good would just not sign there? I think that's like very clearly the case, but who knows?
We did talk about this last summer because we were talking about who are the most doomed franchises. And I said with the Rockies, at the very least, they have developed pitching. Like that stretch at the end of the last decade where they had Freeland, Gray, and Marquez. That's a legitimate top 3 of a rotation. They got to multiple playoffs with that. They just called up a dude who's their highest ranked pitching prospect ever. And everyone who's watched him said, yeah, it actually should work, even for Colorado. But the problem is you're never going to get anybody proven to go there unless you wildly overpay them like Mike Hampton. And in that case, it's a toss-up. Like, okay, is this guy actually going to be worth the money? Because, yeah, if you're a major league pitcher worth your salt, why would you stake your reputation on pitching in Colorado?
It's okay. Livy Dunn will be like, I want to do mushrooms in Colorado. And Skins will be like, okay, babe, I got you. We'll sign with the Rockies for $700 million. But yeah, no,
by then.
I'm trying to remember, like, not to go too back into the past, but Ubaldo Jimenez, that one insane year he had was on the Rockies, correct? Or am I losing my mind?
No, you're right.
It was like 15.
Rocky no-hitter, and it was on the road.
Right. Yeah, that checks out. That tracks. But yeah,
it's Jung Ho Lee Field at Yankee Stadium. Just wanted to make sure
that. Oh man,
not me. I did not say that.
Wait, who said that?
Oh well, there was I think it was the Saturday game, and I think Jung Ho Lee homered for like the 3rd time. It's like Jung Ho Lee is etching his name at Yankee Stadium. Ruth, Maris, Jackson, Jung Ho Lee, and I'm like,
listen,
but people are going to be mad about that.
Wait, was it the Giants announcer who said that, or was it Michael? Oh yeah, I was watching most of those games, and most of those games I was watching the Giants broadcast, and Jung Ho Lee was tearing that ass up at Yankee Stadium.
Holy shit,
dude! Some of the he's more of an appropriate Yankee killer, but dude, sometimes like some of the Yankee killers just like, and again, like you mentioned earlier, Jerry, it's like you analyze this from your team way more than you would, like, you don't notice it when it happens to other teams. Like, I'm sure you can name a bunch of like terrible MLB players that absolutely just like nutted all over the mess their whole career. Like, why are you got? Like, a good example, right? My friends who are Pirates fans, right? There's a group of Pirates fans who think Colton Wong is good. It's like, no, he's not. He just destroys the Pirates every time. So by like recency bias, you think that. It's like, oh yeah, as a Yankee fan, I am very fearful of someone like Marco Scutaro because every time I see that man, he does some fuck shit and it's just horrible. It makes me feel bad about my life, man.
I want to thank the Yankees for getting John Birdie out of the NL East because I was tired of that man.
Yeah. See, like, he, for us, like, try to be a defensive, like, option at third, did all right, broke his ankle, whatever. But like, to you, he's a fucking nightmare incarnate. Like that's just shit. That's why I love baseball. It's hilarious. Like stuff like that to me.
It's like his slash line was like 500, 800, 1200. Just absolutely preposterous every time we played him.
I feel like I was watching one Pirate Red Sox game where someone struck out David Ortiz in 3 pitches. I was like, how the hell did you do that? Like, I don't understand. Like, he didn't care because it's not against the Yankees. That's what he saves his 17 pitch at bats for. Oh my God. But yeah, no, it really is kind of hysterical. You're right. But yeah, no,
maybe the most improbable thing from last year was Jake Diekman striking out Judge. I'll never believe it.
Right. Hey man, everyone's human. Like, honestly, like, hitting is so good right now, even though pitching is better. I'm actually kind of impressed, like, that Judge has. So, like, this is what's going to happen every year. This is why I know we were mentioning the Hunter Green shit. Man, every year, I like have so much faith in Judge, and he kills it every year. But I do have that nervousness of like, there is a window. We, fucking lost in 2017. That was really the year to do it, man. Like that was really the year to do it. I'm not going to go into cheating scandals because like it's a tired subject. Like we could have still won that series regardless, but that was the year to win it. And I just felt like we could have done more as a very fucking rich organization to do so. Like this is a window. This is a hitter that most people will never have, like ever. Like talk to other teams and they'd be like, I would literally kill another man to have this person on my team to build around. And if we don't get it done, it's going to be a travesty, dude. It's going to be like Patrick Ewing. It's going to be like fucking, anyone to that caliber where it's like, and like, I shouldn't even say Patrick Ewing. Patrick Ewing is a great player, but like Aaron Judge is on a level that's like, how can you not win with this? And he's what, like 33, 34 now? He's like a year or two younger than us.
Yeah, he's 33, I believe.
So here's what happens every overreaction April. He either starts off slow or he just does his thing, which he's just doing his thing now. And you're like, yes, we have another year of a man being like insane. I'm worried about age 36, man. Like we need to do it before then. So if we're anywhere close, we need to fucking trade to like, cement this, because there's going to be a time where he's 37 and yeah, he's probably still doing work, but he's not going to be the scary man he is. I'm enjoying the ride, and I just need them to understand this. Like I need them to be like, this window is there. I get that it might not
for that long.
I know it's not. I'm not concerned for another 2 or 3 years, but
like the window
right after the Soto signing, because we felt like it was true for both our teams. And
this
is before Cole got hurt, where you guys have Judge and Cole, and now the Mets have Soto, Lindor, and Pete for the next at least 5 years.
Right.
When you have those guys right now, that is a statement of intent of we're trying to win right now. If you have that on your team, why half-ass anything else? Why not try to absolutely maximize it the best you can? Yeah, variance will happen in baseball, and dumb things happened. I watched a 97-win team lose to the Cardinals in 2006. Like it, dumb things happen in a 7-game series, 2015. Yeah. But like, give yourself as much of a chance to protect yourself from that variance, which is why I'm banging on the table. Like, if the Marlins are just going to make Sandy Alcantara available, like, go get him. If another one of these hitters are out there where you can upgrade one of the other spots in the lineup, go do it. Like, why sign someone to the biggest contract in the history of sports just to play it safe everywhere else?
Yeah.
You're trying to win, right? And I think Yankee fans have every right to feel that way, where when Cole comes back, hey, we still have one of the best hitters on earth. We have a Cy Young caliber winning pitcher.
Maybe 2 Cy Young caliber winning pitchers, because Max Fried looks like the goods right now.
I thought you were about to be like, Carlos Carrasco has won the most games that he's started.
Carlos Carrasco has won the most yes run first inning bets. Not the past couple of times. Not this past couple of times. He's burnt me a few times, which I'm not mad about it. I just wish the Yankees would have maybe scored runs in those first innings. But I will say this in fairness, as far as like looking back, like 2017 seems like it was our best chance to this point thus far, even though we made it to the World Series this year. Against the Dodgers. Like,
man, that Todd Frazier fly ball haunts me every day. Yeah. You know what I'm talking about.
Oh, yeah, I know. I remember watching that in the apartment that you're currently in with you.
Me screeching. People in Pittsburgh have no idea why I'm screaming at this hour. Just like, there's not a game that we care about.
In fairness to 2017, I will say that, number one, it was supposed to be a rebuilding year. But also, I thought that what they did at the deadline that year, I thought they had a good approach to, I thought they had a good approach to try to go for it. And could they maybe done a little bit more? Yeah, maybe. But I think they did. I think they did quite a bit at that deadline. They got Sonny Gray, they got J Happ. They signed.
God, I wish Matt Blake would
trade for Glaber. So I thought that they actually did a pretty good. I actually thought they did a pretty good job in 2017, and that it just didn't work out in the end.
One moment, boys. I'll be right back.
All good. I think it was the years. I think where the frustration for me with Cashman sets in is kind of like their approach in the following years. It's like you signed Giancarlo Stanton, but then you didn't make those one or two supplementary moves to try and really put the team over the top. And then you signed Garrett Cole in 2020, but then they didn't really supplement that until they got Juan Soto. It's like they're always they're making one big splash and then they're kind of just hoping that works out and then just waiting for the next big splash. And if you're really gonna go all in, then just go all in. Just you don't have to. Don't worry about luxury taxes or don't worry about luxury taxes or who Aaron Judge is friends with. You just gotta do it. So I think that it's not so much 2017 that irks me with the Yankees. It's kind of been their approach afterwards.
Right. Honestly, even the front end, and I hate mentioning 2018 because we all know the Red Sox won. But we were off to a torrid start. It was okay, now it's coming together, and it we just again dropped the ball. Couple acquisitions. Actually, I think last year's trade deadline where we DFA'd the motherfucker we traded for was just the most egregious. I just
But wait, the buddy from Arizona?
What was that relief pitcher's name? I feel so uncultured, and I know.
Or am I thinking of somebody else?
Hold on. I'm gonna do unprofessional.
Yeah, because I know we traded. I know we traded for what's his name? We traded for Mark Leiter. He didn't get DFA'd. There was someone else, and I think I know who you're talking about, but his name is just so unmemorable at this point.
Yeah, I feel like there was a De Los Santos.
Truly.
Oh, Ellie De Los Santos. Was that it?
Yeah. It was Ellie De Los Santos. I was I'm not going to say Ellie De La Cruz because that would have been sick. I would have traded I would have amputated my left leg to have him on our team. I would have done that for the good of the fan base. But we just did that and then nothing else. And then even if you go with I'm not going to shit on Harrison Bader, even though he's he's a good player at certain points, injured a lot, but that trade's actually weird. It's pointless, right? Because I wasn't sure about it because I was Jordan Montgomery's pretty good for us. Jordan Montgomery's ass, so that trade should be good. But in the moment, it did nothing for no one. So it's it's honestly more offensive than taking a risk, right? It's this was just a safe play that did nothing for no one. It was stupid. Why do that? I think the one thing I think that I'm remembering right now is we were hoping for Pablo Lopez at the end of that trade deadline, after we traded for Bader. And we didn't get it done. And I was it'll be okay. And I feel bad about it now. It sucks, man.
That was 2022, right? And
yeah.
We traded for Frankie Montas, and that didn't work out for us.
Stop. I'm sorry. I forgot about that part about it. I'm sick.
I would have had nothing but good things to say about Harrison Bader till this week, and then he just made every single damn play against us with the Twins. And
oh, dude, his revenge tour was crazy this week. I saw that. I was oh man, he's just fuck New York. I live in Minneapolis now. Eat my ass.
To quote Curtis Jackson, I thought we was cool. Why you want me to die, homie? Bro, they wrote that whole Instagram post about 2024. Fuck us, right? What the hell?
But yeah, I mean,
everyone's nice enough to let us win. That's a true Met.
Yeah.
Earned his pinstripes on Sunday. That's what he did.
I remember actually like looking at that because there was a walk off, right? And I was like, who hit that walk off? Oh fuck, Ty France mentioned, right?
What a dumb get like that. That's the one that bugged me. It's like, we lost the series. Okay, hey, we were the last team to lose 2 in a row. Whatever. It's like any good fan knows any game you can lose, but it's the nature of losses. Like if you get smoked 9-2, and
Just
have a bad night.
Turn the tape and move on.
We had first and second with nobody out and Winker up because Soto was the ghost runner. And I can't remember. Pete must have walked because Soto would have advanced. But I think Winker swung at the second or third pitch of the at-bat. Grounds into a double play. Soto moves to third. You got Nimmo up, who I think the conversation's starting to happen now where people are realizing, like, Nimmo probably should not be a middle-of-the-order hitter. That's not his approach. Like, for the way he approaches the bats, he should be at your top of your order. Although, over the past 12 months, I would say I don't know what hitter he thinks he is, but he swung at the first pitch. You still have a runner at third. It's still in your advantage, even with 2 outs. Swings at the first pitch and he fouled out. And then I think the Twins won it on the first batter in the next inning. It's like we have first and second no out with the ghost runner. That should be the game. And somehow we were out of it in 5 pitches. And then we lost. Like that's the kind of loss that bugs you because it's like should have been won right there.
Well, it's like with Nimmo, right? He should probably be either top of the order because like that aggressiveness, like I called the Alcides Escobar fucking approach, where you're just like a fastball's probably coming. The pitcher has thrown 3 pitches. He's not like felt his shit out. I'll run into one, or you put him like in the like. So he's more talented than like a 7, 8, 9 hitter, but like it wouldn't be the worst to do that. It might hurt his pride a little, but like, you get through your order and you're like, oh, now I have to like go with this aggressive guy. It might work for him.
We know where Brandon Nimmo was on January 6th. Nothing is hurting that man's pride.
He should be having a career year in that case.
He should be. But I've said here on the show, the thing that's frustrating with Nimmo was like for the first handful of years of his career, he was a 390, 400 on base guy. We always kind of bemoaned like, well, he does everything else, but if he had even just a little bit of pop, you'd really have something. And it seems as if as soon as he added that, and now he's become a regular 20 home run hitter, all that discipline's gone. I think he had an on base in the 320s last year, and that's just not him. And I just wonder if the approach that made him such an elite on base guy, if he just traded all of that to become a middle of the road power hitter, like he will run into one, he'll hit 20, but I don't think I think pitchers would much rather face this Brandon Nimmo than the one from 2021 or 2018.
Right.
That was more of a handful, and that's the Brandon Nimmo that they need. I've kind of felt like Soto probably hits 2 just because of. The designation now is your 2 hitter is your best hitter. But ideally, the way, in a perfect world, the way this Met order should work is Lindor clearly established himself as the leadoff hitter. Let Nimmo hit second. Soto is in the traditional best hitter number 3 spot. Let Pete hit 4th because he's the cleanup guy. Vientos, your second best power hitter, is supposed to be your number 5. Hopefully Vientos started his turnaround tonight. And then you just kind of let it work from there. But that's how your top 5 should look in an ideal world. But as it stands right now, I don't know what you do with Nimmo because you're not moving Soto out of 2. You're not moving Lindor off the leadoff spot. And it was part of the reason for the turnaround last year because Nimmo was leading off and it felt like this offense wasn't maxing itself out. And as soon as they put Lindor there, that's when this offense started to become a real problem for everybody else.
I do kind of think that maybe now that we're talking this out, I do kind of think that maybe the 9 spot would not like permanently, but maybe temporarily putting Nimmo in like the 9 spot would kind of be the perfect spot for him because I feel like
Trump would veto that.
You put your. Listen, we're not. I actually am. I'm a proponent that your 9th hitter in the lineup
is more important than your 8th. Hell yeah! Now that we don't have pitchers pitching,
it should not be like a slapdick.
Pitchers hitting. You know what I meant?
I know that back when there were pitchers batting, the teams got a little too cute with the, like trying to bat the pitcher eighth instead of ninth. But I do think your worst hitter should be your eighth hitter, and I think your ninth hitter should be someone who has a little bit of speed and who, maybe they're not, maybe that helps him kind of realize, okay, yeah, like I'm not, like at my core, I'm not this guy who hits like 20 to 25 home runs a year all the time. And I don't have to be like, I just need to kind of turn over the lineup to like the big guns. And, I think that could maybe be like the perfect role for him as he's kind of like,
I mean, that's what Brett Gardner was.
I don't want to say declining, but
I mean, no, I don't think anyone's excelled more in that spot in the order than Brett Gardner did with the lineup that they had. It made so much sense for him to be that guy. And especially in this lineup where if he's hitting ninth with Lindor, Soto, and Pete waiting, you're damn right you're going to get some good looks. Or you're going to have a pitcher so shook that you're just going to get a free one. So
yeah.
And especially now because Jose Siri was penciled in as the 9-hitter, and he's not nearly as good at getting on base, but I think they looked at him as being either he's going to run into one or he gets on base, and if he gets on base, he's stealing because that's what he does. And
so let me ask you about Siri. Like, how's he? Because like I felt like I saw people talking shit about him as a okay, understand this. Like the Rays are always the annoying team, right? So like Jose Siri numbers on paper, but like what he does, like all right, he fucking cranked one off Mason Miller. I remember that because that lady does the play-by-play for the A's was just like she says some bullshit like, oh, it's not your night, Siri, and he just immediately like cranked one off and was like, okay, so this guy doesn't have the numbers, but he's a great, like as far as like bottom 3 hitters, 7, 8, and 9, he's like one of the better ones. So I was like, it makes so much sense that the Mets are trading for him. That's going to make their lineup more like it's going to have a depth. It's going to be annoying as fuck, but it seems like that hasn't come to fruition. Like, has he like really done anything, or has he been kind of like a hindrance, if you will?
Well, the problem right now is he's on the IL, and he probably will be for a while because he fouled a ball off like the inside of his kneecap.
Okay, yeah.
Like I can't even like put any power on my leg right now, so it's probably going to be months at this point. Did
that happen early or like recently?
In the A series. So
okay, gotcha.
Sunday.
Okay, gotcha.
I liked the idea of if they were letting Bader go, then well, really, this is a supercharged version of that.
Right.
He steals 20 bases. He plays great defense in center field.
He has a 220 average, but who cares? Like, you know,
hit 280, no, but he's going to do the other stuff, and it's like that's what Bader does. And we were perfectly fine with him being the center fielder most of the year. We're just getting a supercharged version of that. Unfortunately, it hadn't really come off before he got hurt. But I also chalk that up to, hey, it's the first 2.5 weeks of the season. We don't really have a read on anybody yet. So I was kind of interested to see where that was going to go. And now I don't know if we're going to get an answer at any point this year or not.
I'm sorry if this is out of pocket, but where's Brett Batty? Is he in jail? Is he in prison?
He actually had a good night tonight.
Someone on Mets Twitter said it. Can we make the designated fielder a thing? Because if so, Brett Beatty's got a career.
Yeah,
he's a fantastic defender. He just can't hit for shit.
Well, there was always the hope that he would.
That would have been great for Ray Ordonez.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, Ray Ordonez mentioned. Holy shit. Actually, you know what'll fix the Mets? Hear me out, and like, don't murder me through the phone. You got to make a trade with the Dodgers. Just, trade for Conforto. What can go wrong?
Listen, you are talking to the president of the Michael Conforto fan club. It breaks my heart that we might have to go against him in the playoffs. So yes, I'm here for this.
Either that, or you might have to.
We can do this.
You might have to go against. You might have to go against Wilmer Flores in the playoffs. And I mean,
dude, what the hell is he eating for breakfast?
This might be an overreaction, but Wilmer Flores might be the best hitter in the sport in 2025.
Listen. All right,
at your own peril, fellas. That's all I gotta say.
So I'm not I understand how from an outside perspective, you guys are crosstown rivals, right? all my cousins, my Uncle Phil, shout out to Uncle Phil, huge Mets fan, huge Jets fan. I understand the Mets culture from an outside perspective, and I generally only talk shit when we're going head to head. So I understand like how loved that man was, and like when he was like in tears being traded, I was like, oh man, that actually hurts my heart because he loves them, you guys love him. So it pains me to say this, he's fucking killing it right now. Is he on roids? Is he on the juice? I'm just wondering.
I'm not entertaining this. I won't do it.
Yeah, because like the reason I say that is because I see San Francisco Giants thing, and I think about like Melky Cabrera being like, oh, where the fuck did this come from? All of a sudden, my guy.
I didn't make that website.
Like check Baseball Reference, and I only know this because Wilmer helped me win my Dynasty League last year. Basically, from like July on, it's if Wilmer's facing a lefty, start him. He's gonna have like an OPS of like 930 if you play him against just lefties. Like he's good. He's never had a stretch this good in his career, but he will have stretches where you're like, he's hitting 320 over the last 3 weeks. When did this happen?
Man, why didn't we sign him? Like lefties fuck the Yankees ass consistently. We should have him on our team, apparently.
I don't know if it was a case of did we let him go too early, or because this also would have been right around the end of the Wilpons. Brody probably was the GM at this point. Like maybe it was never going to work as well as it has for him post New York. Like he's had a nice little career as a part-time and I think that's part of it too. Is he an everyday player? Maybe not. Can he be the guy that you can deploy for a little bit at third base if you need him? Sure. Can you deploy him at first or second? Yeah. Should you ever play him? Probably not. But if you're putting him in there for his bat, you're going to get rewarded.
Yeah, that does track end of the Wilpon era. So you guys didn't know what money was yet, so it makes sense.
But yeah, we were kind of like, man, out of all the guys you're going to let go, like I wanted to keep Wheeler, but I'm like, okay, yeah, if the Phillies are going to give him $100 million, like we're just not going to do that. But like Wilmer was the cheapest of all the guys we let walk. Like you can't pay him. Like
that was such a weird error for you guys because think about it, like Syndergaard didn't fall off yet, right? Like so, like Wheeler was what the third or fourth option because it was what DeGrom, Syndergaard, and then Wheeler. Was that the order? I feel like someone else was there.
Like, over Wheeler's last 2 years, it kind of felt like in real time, like okay, is he actually putting it together and being the pitcher we thought we were trading for all those years ago? That's why we were like watching him be this good for the Phillies. It's not frustration in that, man, where was this for us? It's like, we knew the talent was there. He just was hurt a lot. And
that's what I was going to say. Injury kind of deterred like how you gauged him basically. And then he's like, oh, I'm a healthy man.
But in 18-19, it's like, okay, he's not Jake, but if that's our number two, like, all right, we can work with that. Like, I didn't know it was going to get to be as good as he was, but like he felt more than serviceable. It was like, okay, this was the pitcher that we traded for. That's why it was frustrating because it was like you put in all that time. You spent all those resources to get him healthy. He starts to look like the guy you wanted him to be. And then you just let him leave? That it wasn't, because we've seen guys get good after we leave. And it's like, well, like Justin Turner's always the one that points out. It's like nobody saw that coming. Like,
right.
No one was upset when he left.
He was David Wright's backup, and then he became the third baseman if you needed one in free agency.
But at least with Wheeler, it's like, no, there's tangible signs to point to that says, hey, yeah, like maybe he is taking this jump. Like maybe that's the guy maybe you should invest in him before you, because they didn't really pay Thor, but it's like, if you're going to put money into another guy, maybe it should be him. And
well, he was under team control and he hadn't fallen off yet. And you're like, oh, look at this guy's fastball and look at his fucking slider. There's no way this could like ever like be bad in the next few years. And then honestly, that is a follow-up that needs to be studied. Like that's crazy to me. Like I can tell you
what happened. So he got Tommy John, I want to say the week that the shutdown happened, or like the week after. It was like all that happened at once. It was like season's gonna be on pause. By the way, Thor's getting Tommy John. So he didn't pitch that season, and I want to say he pitched maybe the last week of 21 and it might have been no more than like 2 one-inning outings. And then he was going into free agency. So this dude basically hasn't pitched in 3 years. And he's coming off Tommy John. We don't know what he is. And we have money now. And then he was like, oh, well, I'll take the qualifying off, right? These fans have believed in me since I've gotten here, and I've loved every minute of pitching in Queens. I want us to get us back to where we were in 2015. And the Mets were like, okay, cool. Let's sign to terms. Next thing you know, he's on the Angels. Like with Thor, I hold more hostility towards Syndergaard than I do Wheeler because the Mets never offered Wheeler, and they were never going to match it. With Thor, he gave his word he was coming back. Then he turned around, did a 180, and then he started shitting on us for like a year and a half. It's like, ooh,
and then the first dude, I remember making this joke with Chris Hecker. It was like, oh, yo, I'm actually excited, like, because it was very evident that he wronged you, right? It was kind of like weird and like kind of like he was being a fucking weasel, if you will. And then there was that first matchup where he was on the Angels and like he was facing you guys. And there was some bullshit reason he couldn't pitch. And I was like, look at that. He's using PTO on the series with the Mets. Hey, boss, like, I got to take my mom to the doctor, or like my dog shit its pants or something. Like, can't do it.
I couldn't get a babysitter for the start.
And then when he was on the Phillies, because the Angels traded him to the Phillies, it lined up again. Somehow couldn't pitch that series either.
That's right. Okay, so I was actually thinking in my head, I was like, was it the Angels or the Phillies? But it was both. It was my fucking God, dude.
Yeah, and then he was
honestly,
like,
what a bona fide pussy, like.
Because so the Mets threw the combined no-hitter that season, and then he was still on the Angels, and I think Reed Detmers threw one by himself, and he's like, see, that's what a real no-hitter looks like. It's like, why is it fuck us for? What did we do?
What are you saying fuck me for?
And now he's at they opened up a new team shop before the season, and it's like,
oh yeah, he was like hanging out.
House. I'm like, when did we say it was okay with him? It's very much not. Like, now you want to get back in our good graces because your career is like hanging on by a thread? No. You're out of here.
No, it's Jover for Thor.
I enjoyed watching him getting smoked in the World Series with the Phillies. That warmed my heart.
Dude, I feel like if you're like a guitarist of a metal band with like similar hair, there are just people in Queens drunk as fuck on the train being like, fuck you. And this guy who doesn't like listen to it, like, why are people saying that to me right now? Like, I didn't do anything to anyone.
Some guy from like Sweden.
It's like, Americans are rude as hell, man. Like, they're calling me Noah. I don't know if that's a slur or an insult, but my name's Sven. Like,
what is this?
But yeah. Oh, Hecker, I guess this is a good question to kind of go back towards the Yankees. So I saw something that like is honestly a hard conversation to have. So Giancarlo Stanton, hero of the day in the playoffs. We wouldn't have made it to the World Series without him. Really big concern when both your elbows don't work at the same time. Like, I don't care how good of a hitter you are. That's odd. So my nervousness is people are saying, where do we put Ben Rice if Giancarlo comes back? And it's like, what the fuck do you mean Ben Rice needs to be in the thing? So like, what do we do about that when the time comes?
I say you keep him right where the fuck he is. You keep him as a leadoff hitter. You can platoon him at first base with Paul Goldschmidt. I think that Ben Rice played fine at first base defensively last year. He can also, whenever Austin Wells needs a day off, he can also be like kind of like a backup catcher. I mean, this may be putting a lot of miles on Ben Rice, but he needs to. I don't think it's even a discussion to take him out of the lineup. I know that he's like in the DH spot now, and obviously the DH spot will be Giancarlo's when he comes back. And I'm sure when Giancarlo comes back, like, I don't think it's going to be like he's going to hit the ground running and playing every day per se. So I'm sure like there's going to be platoons galore, I think is what I would say. I think you'll be platooning you'll be platooning Ben Rice between DH and with Giancarlo and first base simultaneously, and maybe occasionally he can be like the emergency like backup catcher.
Right.
I mentioned the Giancarlo injury because I had completely forgotten about this, and I had meant to ask Chris about this when we brought up the torpedo bats. Stanton did allude to the fact that in the playoffs last year, he did have an adjusted bat, and turns out like he kind of was ahead of the curve on the torpedo bats. And they said that's when these things with his elbow started, because like he also changed how he was swinging, at least like the physical act of doing it.
So
I wonder how legit that is.
So that's actually a good point, but like from what I understand, I'm gonna ask if I'm not gonna ask. I'm gonna look up on the internet. So from what I understand, he had a different bat, but I'm not certain the one that caused his injury is the torpedo bat, because I feel like he did say like when I'm coming back, I'm using a torpedo bat. I don't think he'd use that if it was the thing. Then like that's alarming, man. Like. Yeah. Well, first of all, I make the joke. It's like, do you think that this man is such a powerful Neanderthal that like pain has finally caught up to him? He's just swinging like with all his strength, and now like finally his pain receptor's like, yeah, dude, like this is unsustainable. Yeah. But yeah, I don't think it was a torpedo bat that did it. I think it was just a different bat. Someone on the Yankees suggested using a different bat, right? And it was fucking working great. I don't think it was a torpedo bat, because he did state, I remember this specifically, he was like, hey, I'm going to use a torpedo bat when I get back. So I think he was using a different measurement of legal bat, and it was working, but it fucking ruined his arm. It's kind of an insane lore of the Yankees right now. Hold on. You're going to see my fucking ugly ass grill, but let me
That is kind of nuts that something like that, like for all the power and strength we know Stanton to have, that something like that threw it off that badly.
Yeah, I didn't even realize that it was. I didn't even realize it was the bat that he was using that necessarily like caused the injury. I thought his elbows were just killing him from like just like swinging out of his shoes for like the past like 10 years.
Right. That's why I make the Neanderthal joke. I was like, you can only take so many hell hacks. Hold on, let me see this.
Well, I mean, this is kind of like a apples to grapefruits comparison I'm going to make, but it's kind of like what happened with Tiger. I remember people said this like during his peak, was that, yeah, his drives are great, but like he can't do this forever. Like that's just putting too much torque on your body. That's going to catch up to him at some point. And here we are. He eventually got to the point that he fell down in his backyard. He couldn't even get up, but because like he had just put so much violence into his swing that his back is just completely gone now.
Yeah.
Okay, let me.
There's also that aspect. But yeah, I mean, yeah, I think it wasn't like quite a torpedo bat, but it was it was like some sort of modified bat, maybe like whatever it was. I mean, it looks like it looks a little bit like a torpedo bat, but I don't know if it necessarily constitutes being officially a torpedo bat. I think it
may not have perfected it yet.
It was like this bat walked so that the torpedo bats could run type of thing.
Yeah. So I'm reading this Yahoo article, and now I'm seeing kind of a different story. Like, so tied to bat adjustments he made during the 2024 season, when asked for more specifics, he declined, and then he stated he will use the torpedo backs. Okay, so here's what I saw. New York Post columnist John Heyman, our boy, obviously, there was speculation in Yankees cap that somehow Stanton ended up with tendonitis in both elbows. He reported that the theory was Stanton had switched to a different bat at the suggestion of someone no longer with the Yankees organization. So the reason I said, yeah, yo, Braves winning the World Series or being the worst team in baseball starting tonight. So, and then they go into the torpedo bat. So like this is my like general conclusion, right? You're telling me that someone with the Yankees suggested a bat, and now they're no longer with the Yankees. They didn't even give a name. So I'm trying to like track down who that is. But then he's going to use a torpedo bat. So it's either heck or you're right. It was some like, but here's the thing. They've been a thing since 2023. So I don't think there would be a fucking prototype like, 4 months ago. And then all of a sudden a new version, right? So that's why I said in confidence, hey, I think it was a different bat that wasn't a torpedo bat. Because if you're telling me that someone suggested using a different bat that's legal and he gets tennis elbow on both his goddamn elbows, and then he's willing to use a torpedo bat, there's some weird missing piece that they're not talking about. And that's what I'm seeing. He declined to mention, further comments, some shit like that. So yeah, I don't think it was a torpedo bat, but they're like kind of blaming the equipment, but also not. Who knows? It kind of seems like one of those things that we're never.
Yeah, it's Paul cut out there for a minute. I'm not sure, but it's probably one of those things where it's a little bit of it's probably one of those things where it's a little bit of both. Like I'm sure maybe the bat he was using had something to do with it. And it was also probably just like an accumulation of just like swinging out of your shoes, like since you came up into the big leagues. And he already, obviously already had his, injury proneness. I mean, I remember one time he got injured, and I remember one time he like hurt like his shoulder just from like lifting weights. So obviously the man is pretty much made of glass, and if it was the torpedo bat and he's still considering using it, CTE might be just running rampant in the Yankees clubhouse. I don't know.
There is another story here that says, like, when asked about it, Stanton said, quote, "You're not going to get the story you're looking for. So if that's what you guys want, that ain't going to happen."
Right. So like that's what leads me to believe that it's like, okay, so it can't be the exact torpedo bat. There has to be some sort of like stipulation, because you as a professional sports organization and an athlete who wants to continue to play baseball at a high level, you wouldn't just use the same bat. Like if that's what you're kind of implying caused the issue. So there's a missing piece, and I don't think we're going to get it because, Aaron Boone and like, it's probably like, hey guys, just all you have to say is it's right in front of us. Don't answer any questions. Just say it's right in front of us. And when reporters are like, bro, what? Just keep saying it's right in front of us. Sorry, I don't know where that's coming from, but some past trauma, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, Robert Saleh took a few pages out of Aaron Boone's playbook for sure.
Damn.
Speaking of CTE running rampant in the Yankee clubhouse, though, Aaron Judge was named team captain of Team USA for the 2026 World Baseball Classic. He apparently will not have any say in personnel decisions, which is I think is in our, I think it's in the country's best interest. It would be nice if he would keep that same energy for our baseball team. Me and Paul, I think we had this discussion. Me and Paul did, just casually speaking, but a big reason why, Verdugo was, an everyday player last year, and why he got the nod even in the playoffs, even after producing a 162 game sample of shit, was because he was Aaron Judge's boy, not so much because he was, not so much because Dominguez being unplayable in left field, which we're actually seeing now that Dominguez defensively in left field actually is not that bad.
We were right. If you did it early, we would have figured it out. We were right. Yeah. We're smarter than sports executives.
Yeah, if you would have done it earlier, he would have figured it out. And also, it also, like, with the start to the season that Trent Grisham's having, it begs the question, like, would the Yankees have been maybe in a better position if Trent Grisham was an everyday player instead?
Yes, because he would have been playing center field, and Judge would have, actually Soto's in the picture. So, yeah, I don't know how that would have worked out. But here's the thing. It is
would have given him more flexibility.
I think that I mentioned this early, like after we saw Trent hit fucking 2 home runs against the Pittsburgh Pirates. So listen, man, I know it's the fucking Pirates, but there's no way you had this man on your team, and once Verdugo was struggling, you weren't at least platooning, like, lineup wise, or like, giving him some days off. Like this was a common like fucking example of we can't be wrong, so we're gonna play the fucking player we traded for because it's from the Red Sox. We have to be right, and we're gonna fucking die in the World Series. Like, we're gonna fucking piss on our own graves to just prove that like he needs to be a starter. And what did it do? It didn't work out, and then immediately Trent Grisham is like a top tier player. Like, any fucking, and he doesn't even start every day. He could be a starter on literally any team right now. It's actually crazy to me. It's like a good problem to have, but the fact that it was mismanaged in a year that we were so close kind of sits wrong with me, like manager wise. Like, you have to be able to, like, I get it's not cut and dry. I get it's easy for us as fans to be like, oh, play him every day because of what we're seeing like 3 weeks. But dude, there was talent there that you underutilized. Like, even if you weren't willing to like throw Verdugo to the side, you at least needed to split that a little differently. Even if you were going to be like, oh, well, we traded for Verdugo, we're going to play him 60% of the time, and we'll play Grisham like 40% or 30% of the time. It's like, it's inexcusable that he never saw the light of day last year. I think that's actually a huge blight on Aaron Boone's decision making. It actually pisses me the fuck off. Sorry, I'm like, I'm kind of fucking mad about it. Like, seeing this,
Maybe Aaron Boone was watching the 2003 Red Sox highlight videos and he saw Grady Little and said, "You know what? I like where that guy's head's at."
I think he was a double spy / government psyop from the Red Sox. Revenge for Babe Ruth, if you will.
Prove that.
I'm like, bro, hold on, but then I'm gonna become their manager like 16 years later and gonna piss everyone off all the time.
Yeah, man, it's like, okay, the Red Sox got their revenge for Babe Ruth. We signed Jacoby Ellsbury, and then we trade for Alex Verdugo. We're even, right? Like, it counts. Yeah. Like, we're even. Like, we're good now. Like, we can just like start anew and just continue to beat the shit out of each other. All right, cool. We can go from there.
Yeah, I think we're good. Kevin Youkilis was a Yankee once too. I know we've tried to erase that from our memory.
Dude, he actually was involved in a triple play for the Yankees. Kind of crazy if you think about that. He helped initiate it.
Yeah, that is pretty nuts, actually.
That man had a like shitty beard, but he looked wrong without it on the Yankees. It looked really fucking odd.
I mean, I'm proud to say that my team's franchise player will be a captain in the World Baseball Classic, and as the kid Merrill likes to quote, "Uno podrías, pero es verdad." But it's true.
Well, dude, you saw Judge being like, "Yo, I want Pete," right? Yo, Judge has been gassing up Pete. He could have done that a little early, because I was like, "Listen, man, I know Goldschmidt is cool, but like, if the Mets aren't signing Pete, let's do it. Why the fuck not? We should have done it. We should have fucking done it." But I actually do. So like that whole Juan Soto Judge back and forth, I actually do appreciate that Judge was like, "Listen, I know what this is. I ain't going back and forth." Like, he basically politely, in the most like, "aw shucks, like I'm the captain of the team" way, was like, "Don't ask me about this in public again."
Yeah, you have to like do your job better.
Like, to kind
I think it was the perfect response too.
In the Discord, it's like, Soto gains like, it's good candor, and like that's what we want out of our athletes. But given the market and the situation, he gains nothing from putting all this out there. I think if any two other teams would be like, "Oh, cool on him for speaking out like that." But I salute Judge for basically being like, "This does me no good to engage in this." Like, what's done is done. And like, I know we were kind of touching on it a little bit at the beginning, and what I was going to say is I do think the media element kind of gets overblown sometimes with the New York teams, but this is one case where it's absolutely correct, because it's all confirmation bias. If Soto came out smoking and he was hitting 600, 800, 1,500 right now, no one would care.
They say give him $1 billion.
But like, and the thing is, right? Like, you guys are absolutely correct. The thing is, like, Juan Soto was just like actually being a genuine human. I know that Yankee fans use that like on Twitter to be like, LOL Mets, and then like, Mets fans who are overreacting to him not like having 17 home runs in like 3 weeks is just like, oh yeah, why would he say that? So like at the end of the day, Juan was just being a genuine human being. But from a like PR standpoint, and I hate to say PR standpoint, it definitely wasn't the smartest thing to say. Not because it was wrong or like, he wasn't like he was just being himself and like, he was acknowledging a difference. He wasn't shitting on Pete. He was just acknowledging a difference from a really good player. But like, you have to know how this media, like, again, you're on a different team, but you're in the same media stratosphere, right? You have to kind of realize that like these fucking goons are going to take that and run with it, and they're going to make it into a thing. So I think it was very good that Judge was like, dude, like, nah, like, shut up. Like,
I don't know
politely shut up.
I don't know how much those guys on WFAN believe that, but I know what they thought as soon as they saw that is, that's a week's worth of content, baby. That's exactly.
Dude, we will not shut the fuck up about this until we have to. Exactly.
Mm-hmm. Yep,
my whole thing with like Mets fans being pissed about this is it's from an old Chris Rock bit about having a girlfriend that was someone else's. It's like,
right.
You didn't discover shit. You're not planting a flag. No, like, just be happy you're getting it now.
Right.
I got Juan Soto for the next 15 years.
Yeah.
He hit 2 long balls in Minnesota. You know what I'm concentrating on? That. I'm happy I saw that.
Yeah.
Right. Like, cool. He thinks Aaron Judge is the best third base. But okay, he ain't here.
Right.
He ain't doing anything for me.
And like on the other end of it, like, don't you think that like so like if Pete Alonso, like again, like I was like, yo, it'd be really cool if we got him like in exchange, like just to kind of be like, hey, we got your guy now, even though he's not as good as Soto, but like Pete Alonso is a fucking fantastic player. I know that like it's very easy to like take a power hitter who you get a bunch of highlights, slider in the dirt, they swing at it right out of context. Oh, this guy sucks. You could do the same thing with Judge, right? You can do the same thing with fucking A-Rod if you wanted to, right? But I do think that Pete Alonso is a fucking, phenomenal baseball player. And would you not say that Juan Soto being in front of him, like, is like, it's not the reason he's good, but it's helping him fucking do work to start off the bat. It's like, it's like, holy shit, we got past Soto, sick. Let me throw to, and Peach is cranking it. It's like, it's like the opposite. People just expect it to be Soto, but man, like if you're making a difference on the team, it's not always invisible offense. You got to realize like one man comes after another. Like, there you go. Like,
and
I don't know. It's all.
And if I'm playing 4D chess here, we've seen Pete get challenged and answer the call. There's a little part of me that wonders if Pete didn't watch all this play out and go, oh, you don't think you're getting protection anymore, huh?
Right.
All right. I'll take that personally. All right. Like,
listen,
like
I was a little
not that Pete needed any like fire lit under his ass because he's been doing his thing, but maybe maybe he was just trying to like motivate him, and maybe I think that I don't think anyone's wrong in that whole debacle of a story. It's a non-story as far as I'm concerned, but I don't think anyone's necessarily wrong. Like
because we were
you're going to
talking
get pitched to differently when you don't have Aaron Judge, and and you also have a fantastic hitter hitting behind you and in front of you still now. So what's the issue?
I read those quotes, I struck that at, like we were talking about him analyzing the at bat in the ALCS. I think if you ask him a genuine baseball question, he'll give you a genuine baseball answer. He's not giving you a canned media trained answer. It's like, you want me to ask? You want me to tell you what the difference is? Okay, how much time you got? And I didn't take it for anything more than it was.
Yeah, I think the only time I really heard him give a like a canned response was after the World Series when he was basically like, I'm available to all 30 teams. Like he knew how to play the media like when it was time.
If the Marlins want to give me $1 billion straight up, I might consider it.
You hear that, Pittsburgh Pirates?
But no, what I was gonna say was yeah, like you know, I had a point this year, early in the year, again, overreaction April, was like, man, did Pete Alonso break Devin Williams? A little concerned about it. Seems like he got it back, but man, that dong really fucking kind of made him uneasy the first couple of starts of the season. Like I remember watching that shit, like, already hammered opening day. Like, hey, we're gonna win. Like, listen, man, I just like you're a Mets fan, you understand how like cool it is to win on opening day. You guys have the best opening day record, correct? And it's just like no matter how the year goes, it's just like it's a nice fucking start. It feels good. It feels great. So like when he loaded the bases, I was like, God damn it, this is fucking Pete's fault. Like this man is mentally like unstable because he's just loading the bases.
We were talking about that in the last episode. As I said, it was so important for him to be able to get out of that because I don't think the home run is the reason why the Brewers traded him. I think they've got a separate set of issues going on there. But if he blows the save in the first game out of that, then it's it's still in his head. The best example I can think of was, or maybe it's not the best, but the first one that popped in my head was when the Red Sox traded for Eric Gagne, and everyone's like, "Oh no, they just got the best guy you could get."
God, Gagne was so.
And then the Brewers signed him in the offseason because he was a free agent. And on opening day, Kosuke Fukudome homered off of him, and everyone's like, "Oh, he's broken.
Fuck you, do me."
Yeah, he's all right. He's done. So if he blows that first game, it's Pete broke him. And instead, it's they got 2 runs off him. He got out of it. And I said he might struggle after that, but if he loses that first game, then it's a thing. So I think even now, like you're one of the few people I've heard who's still kind of like, is he still all there, or what's up?
Yeah, I mean,
it's like it's the perception is reality type thing. I think if he had blown the first game and then ran off 7 straight saves, people are still like, I don't know. You blow back-to-back games across 6 months.
Yeah, and like looking back on it, and obviously, like I think any doubt of like that has been erased now with his last few outings. He's been, he's shut them down 1, 2, 3 in his last couple of saves. But I think in a way it's probably good that even though they had a 4-0 lead on opening day, that they did put him out there. And they kind of let him work through that with that cushion, rather than in a situation where you have a 1 or a 2 run lead and you're in a situation where you just like blew the game because of it. Then like that could really, then that could really be like a domino effect from the whole, from the fallout of, Pete Alonso and how he ended the season last year.
It is interesting because I know we talked about it on the last episode, and I actually did find a video on YouTube. I think I sent it to you, Chris. And we've looked at the most famous instances of a closer or a supposed lights out reliever giving up a major postseason home run, and it's okay. Well, did that break them? And in a lot of cases, it's maybe their stats weren't great after that, but you could point to something as to why that happened. It's they suffered back-to-back injuries and their velocity was never the same, or like they pointed to Neftali Feliz blowing the David Freese game, and it's but the next year they made him a starter, so we don't even know if he was still a good closer after that because they made him a starter and then he got hurt and he was never the same. There's very few instances of it actually being true where this guy was a great closer, he blew a big game, and then he lost. Like even Byung-Hyun Kim. Someone actually did point out Byung-Hyun Kim actually had 2 or 3 more good years after 2001. So even that necessarily didn't kill him. So it's relievers are different.
Yeah,
like the way they say, if defensive backs could catch, they'd be receivers. If relievers were consistent, they'd be starters.
Yeah, it's a very volatile position. It's a lot like NFL kickers too, and like how quickly things can change.
That's probably a better example, yeah.
But yeah, this has been a lot of fun. Probably a good time to wrap up the show. But do either of you have any final thoughts before we sign off for the evening?
Oh, this was fun.
Yeah, always is. Paul, we appreciate you coming on. Do you have any final words, or do you want to leave your Twitter? You want to plug your Twitter handle so people can follow you if they want?
I think we might have lost him.
Yeah, he might. Yeah, he might not want to. He might not want to do that anyway. But yeah, that'll do it for this episode. Yep, he gone, and we gone. So. This has been another episode of the 4 to 7 pod, and we'll talk to you again soon. Make sure you're subscribed to the YouTube, and you can follow us down below. I'll tweet out, when I tweet out the episode, I'll tweet out Paul's handle too, so you can follow him if you want to. Peace.
See you.